Howdy there, folks. Welcome to Call of Juarez Gunslinger. This is an older and Western game made in 2013. So if that made you feel old, I mean, it is a decade. A decade ago this game came out. So if you feel old because you played this game on release and I just called it an older game, well, I got bad news for you. You're an old bag of bones. I got this game for free a couple years ago, but I'm just now getting around to playing it. Although I am a big fan of the Western genre. I love Western movies, Western TV shows, Western video games. Red Dead Redemption 2 is my undisputed GOAT of video games. Now I'm going to be playing Call of Juarez on hard. I like to challenge myself on every video game I play. Try and play on the hardest difficulty. Unfortunately, the hardest difficulty, True West, is locked behind finishing the story, which means I'm not going to do that. Now starting off, we have this beautiful artwork that we are shown here. It is introducing us to our protagonist of the story, Silas Greaves, an old bounty hunter, who has just arrived in Abilene, Kansas, and he is looking to wet his whistle with some liquor from a saloon run by a fella named Ben. But while he's in there, a young man named Dwight buys him a beer in hopes of hearing some bounty hunting tales, because Dwight has purchased a book that is detailing all of Silas's adventures, but his friend Jack there does not believe that Silas really did any of that. There's also a guy named Steve, and then there is the waitress named Molly. Now, Mr. Silas Greaves makes a lot of claims during this video game, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to fact check most of them. Now, his first one starts with him riding with Billy the Kid in 1880, which is shortly after the Lincoln County War, which is where Billy the Kid got his fame. Silas stumbles upon Pat Garrett's posse assaulting their little makeshift hideout, old barn.
Who's that? Is he with us?
And he immediately begins mowing down people. And he kills so many people.
As the governor of New Mexico was paying for the kids out. He's one of them! God damn it, he's right behind us! Garrett's men were running around like a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off. God damn you! The right position is very important. Personally, I prefer to be on top.
Oh, you do, do you?
Billy looked at me and said, "About time, amigo. Grab a gun and get to the window."
Wait, so you were friends with Billy the Kid?
Yeah, sort of. Anyway, we were surrounded by dozens of deputized shooters who wanted to do us harm.
Damn.
I'm telling you, Garrett's men were dropping like flies, but they just kept on coming.
Gotcha.
That's when Charlie got hit. "They're catching us in a crossfire," shouted Billy. "Get to the other side."
R.I.P. Charlie.
"They got a Gatling," Billy shouted. "Get the horses and bring them round back. I'll draw their attention." And that's when I met Sheriff Pat Garrett.
I read that you went toe-to-toe with him, sir. That backstabbing bastard with that tacked-on tin star.
Pat Garrett.
You challenged him to a showdown.
You read that in a dime novel?
It said he showed no fear as he took your measure with eyes like a rattlesnake. And that you killed him in a fair fight.
Is that what that Penny Dreadful said?
Let's get this.
He stepped inside, and bam! Last thing I heard was Garrett's voice. "That's not Billy." Later, they wrote that some lady friend planted a pistol for him in the privy. What the papers didn't say is that Billy helped me escape too.
I can move.
My first order of business was finding a firearm. Located Deputy Bob Ollinger's mean-ass shotgun. Hell yeah. That scatter gun was like a double-barreled howitzer. It could blow a man clear off his feet. You hardly had to aim the damn thing. And sneak my way past. But hell, if they weren't all waiting for me. Apparently, some of them thought I was Billy.
But where was the kid while you were busy getting shot at?
Gone. And that's when it occurred to me why Billy set me free.
Oh.
So I could be a hapless decoy and draw attention while he snuck out of town.
Oh, so there's like a weird quick time event.
I knew if I made it out of there in one piece, no one would put a price on my head.
Because everybody in Lincoln would be dead?
No, because they all thought I was Billy. And all that blame would fall on him. Meanwhile, Deputy Bob Ollinger was organizing a posse to put me down. He was already a mean son of a bitch, but he was doubly pissed that I stole his mean-ass shotgun. Anyway, it was me or them, and the only way forward led me straight to perdition. But the cards were dealt, and I had no choice but to play them. Finally, I found what I was looking for. The stables on the edge of town.
I guess Billy saved your ass, taking out Bob Ollinger the way he did.
Billy didn't kill Bob.
Well, sure he did. He dispatched him right after he shot Deputy Bell.
No, sir. Because Bob came right up behind me, angry as hell that Billy had lit out. "Hello, Bob," I said. "I think you better let me go." And he says, "I don't think so, boy. Not with my shotgun." So we stood there in the middle of the street, eyeball to eyeball.
Yep. All right, he
Killed him in a
missed.
fair fight. Everybody saw I had no damn choice.
Here we have our first historical inaccuracy. Silas Greaves claims that he killed Bob Ollinger in a duel, which is not true. Bob Ollinger died to a shotgun blast from Billy the Kid, meaning that even if Silas Greaves was mistaken for Billy and killed Bob Ollinger, he would have to do it with a shotgun, not in a duel.
Pretty penny to take them hombres on.
Not really. But truth be told, I had my own reasons for going after those boys.
So was the bastard you were after now riding with the cowboys?
Roscoe Bob Bryant was his name.
Oh.
But no, this time it was a different bastard I was after. The aforementioned Mr. Ringo. And yes, he was working for Old Man Clanton. I did my best to help those poor bastards. Moments later, the attackers were dead. And I checked the stagecoach to see how many passengers were still breathing.
Let's see. None.
It was then I wondered if the rocks weren't hiding more bandits. Was that all of them? Or did I just hit the rear guard? I quickly got my answer. They attacked from on high like Apaches often did. They were pouring great numbers from above and rained down lead on their hapless enemies' heads. Making use of the high ground and whatever else they had.
These look like Native Americans.
Yep, the Apaches always appeared out of nowhere, and there never seemed to be an end to them.
Hold on. Were you attacked by Apaches? What happened to the cowboys?
Did I say they were Apaches? I said Clanton's cowboys attacked me Apache style. I was in a pitched battle, but I was holding my own against an overwhelming enemy force. I didn't see Ringo, but I knew he was with the cowboys. He and Roscoe Bob had done me a
Embarrassing.
wrong, and I was determined to have my revenge. But to get to Ringo, I knew I'd have to find
I dodged into it.
it. Finally, they managed to corner me. Trapped as I was, the odds of my survival seemed pretty slim. Luckily, serendipity was on my side as I suddenly spotted a way out of my predicament.
Cave.
And that's when something miraculous happened. Like manna from heaven, I found the desiccated remains of what looked like an Apache warrior. The old weapon next to him supplied me with some much-needed ammunition. Pat Masterson once told me it was more important to be lucky than good, and he would know. Time for the hunted to become the hunter. Time.
All right, Jesus, we get it. They were right where you wanted them.
That's right, Jack. I came at them like a wildcat. My fury knew no bounds. Most everyone thought it was the Ruales who had come up against him in Guadalupe Canyon, but it was just me.
What the? Ah, probably dynamite.
Apparently, one of the cowboys made it out of there alive and told Ike and Billy Clanton that it wasn't a Mexican who took their father's life that day. They just assumed it was one of the Earps. And that little misunderstanding eventually led to that legendary gunfight at the OK Corral.
Now, after defeating Old Man Clanton and his Gatling gun, Silas claimed that started the beef between the Earps and the cowboys that caused the gunfight at OK Corral. You know, the movie Tombstone, or the movie Wyatt Earp that came out just like a couple months later. That movie's not bad either. Okay? Don't just rule it off because you're like, it's just bad Tombstone. It's not. It's a little different. Okay? Watch Wyatt Earp. Old Man Clanton's death did not start the OK Corral gunfight.
A few weeks after that dust-up at the OK Corral, I was still after Johnny Ringo. I had tracked him and the cowboys to their hideout at a sawmill, and they were loaded for bear. I let Ringo walk away unscathed, and that's what drove me forward.
They say that Ringo was infernally fast.
I hardly saw anyone faster, boy. Certainly not Wyatt Earp. That man was all hat and no cap.
Earp wasn't much of a match for him, but Doc Holliday might have taken him.
That Lunger should have kept his nose out of it. They never charged anyone for the murder of Morgan Earp.
Cut myself a sawed off.
But everybody knew that Curly shot him in the back. That was common knowledge.
Yeah, maybe so. But Ringo had nothing to do with it. He was just being loyal to a friend.
Is that what you call it?
Being loyal.
Well, to get to that loyal friend, I had to pass by some buzzsaws as big as a man.
I got this easy peasy. Am I the greatest shot? Yes. Ooh. Do I have a stick of dynamite? I do. Oh. Check this shit out. Oh, here. Eat this. Well, that didn't do much. Well. Damn. Okay, Curly. Oh. Still stuck there. What do you got here? Oh, dynamite. Oh. That Curly Bill? Curly Bill dead.
Me no choice but to take his life. But Ringo was nowhere to be found.
I knew you didn't kill Ringo, because he was found dead in a different location altogether.
To this day, his killer is still unknown.
Indeed. Took me a few months before I finally tracked his ass to West Turkey Creek Canyon.
Ringo.
That's incredible, sir. I always thought that Doc Holliday was the one that killed him.
Need more speed. What? Yeah.
Sorry I had to ruin the legend for you, boy. But the legend ain't always true.
Now, there are quite a few historical inaccuracies from this tale. Number one being the killing of Curly Bill, which is very well noted that Wyatt Earp killed Curly Bill. And as far as Ringo goes, Silas Greaves could have been telling the truth. He could have killed him. Nobody knows who killed Ringo.
I knew I needed resources if I was going to track down Roscoe Bob Bryant. And hunting Plumber looked like a good way to get rich quick. Plumber had a lot of men on his payroll. A hell of a lot. That son of a bitch pretended to protect the public with one hand while stealing them blind with the other. He set up a defensive perimeter which I had no idea how to break.
Bullets. That's how I'm gonna breach it.
And in way over my head. But I was too damn stubborn and stupid to realize it. I had a few ideas on how to get into that mine. But once I made my decision, I knew there was no turning back.
Decision
So
time?
my first thought was to enter the nearest mine portal. I saw an entrance. Made sense. Quick reflexes often make up for a lack of common sense. Luckily, I was never one to be easily bushwhacked. I would just need to be careful not to blow myself to kingdom come. With all that gunpowder and dynamite everywhere, a body has to know what he's shooting at.
Yeah,
All
okay.
it takes is one tiny spark, and boom. I freely admit that my plan of attack was not just moronic, but clearly insane.
Probably get moving. Woo!
It's a good thing that I abandoned that ridiculous plan before I even tried it. Instead, I spotted a ladder, a way into the mine from the opposite side.
Damn. Put him down. Hell yeah.
So that's how Henry Plummer
We
died.
got him.
Him and his crew were worth their weight in gold.
Henry Plummer was hanged, not shot to death like Silas Greaves claims. And not only was he hanged, but he was also hanged in 1864, long before any of the other events take place in this game.
So, did you finally go after that Bob feller?
Well, I heard word he was in Kansas with John Wesley Hardin. So that's where I went.
Where in Kansas?
Abilene. Why do you ask, Ben?
No reason.
Was Hardin as fast as Ringo?
Ringo was fast, but John Wesley was as fast as the devil himself.
Uh-oh. There he is.
I felt a bolt of adrenaline. Or maybe that was fear. He was well known for his tricks, and I knew I'd need my own if I was ever to defeat him.
That was terrible. I'm so dead here. Okay. Please. No way.
That man was faster than greased lightning. But being inebriated as he was, he didn't count his shots. And now, he was at my mercy.
So he didn't die?
No, I sent him to prison. Years later, after he was free, some restless Avenger took his life. Shot him in the back at a saloon just like this one. Anybody up for another beer? Ben?
Personally, I'd like to hear some of your other adventures. Like, I don't know, did you ever go toe-to-toe with a red man?
Grey Wolf.
Yes, I did, Ben. I remember once I was after this renegade Apache, Grey Wolf. Strangely enough, revenge was also his primary motivation. A bounty was put on Grey Wolf's head, and that's how I came to hunt him in the mountains. Mountains so high they tickled the nether regions of heaven. I admit to having some regrets about going after him the way I did. But then again, I got a lot of those. They thought it was haunted with the ghosts of those murdered by the horse soldiers.
The cave was haunted with dead Indian ghosts?
No.
To be honest, I was more concerned with the live ones than the dead ones. married to two Mescalero women.
At the same time?
Yeah, they were sisters. Polygyny is traditional among the Mescalero.
So what happened?
Oh, I had to get out of there. Those girls never shut up. I came upon this flooded grotto, and that's when I saw him. He came to me unarmed and unafraid. His voice echoed in the shadows. And I sensed he meant me no harm.
You carry great darkness in your heart, and if you do not release it, it will claim your soul.
The sound of his voice put some kind of ancient Indian spell on me. As his story unfolded in my mind,
You will come to this place again and kill many more men, and the darkness will grow until it consumes everything that you are. The soul would have no rainbow if the eye had no tears.
he said I was a great warrior, a coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior, or something like that. He said I was a great warrior, a coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior, or something like that.
The snakes will bite shadows of your past until a venom poisons your heart, and an echo of the song of your dead summons the spirits deep from within the mountains.
I didn't quite get what he was saying, but there was definitely snakes. And indeed, his warriors surrounded me and attacked me like hungry wolverines. They couldn't stop me, though, and Grey Wolf wasn't in the mood for idle talk.
Damn. I hate these areas. Like, I cannot fight like this.
Finally, I found myself back outside, perched on the edge of a precipice, overlooking a thundering whitewater river. To get where I was going required several leaps of faith, but no way in hell I was turning back. I chased after him, determined to make him explain the meaning of all that mumbo-jumbo.
Mumbo-jumbo's right. Are you making this all up as you go?
A few details may be fuzzy, brother, but I am relating exactly what happened to me. There were dozens of Apache warriors aiming at me from on high.
Dozens?
Well, maybe not dozens, but there was a lot of them.
At least 3 or 4.
Well, more than that, little lady. Wouldn't you know it? That crafty son of a bitch led me right into a trap.
What kind of trap?
Well, son, there had to be at least 100 Apaches surrounding me.
100.
God be my witness.
Oh, come on. Who are you kidding?
Hey, I believe you. Come on, tell us how it ended.
All right, but I'm not gonna drag this out. Where were we?
You were surrounded by 100 Apache warriors.
Well, I didn't take the time to count them exactly, but there were a lot of them.
Come on. Come on. Come on. That's right. I'm going crazy, brother. I hate these parts.
And in the end, a path appeared before me that I had not seen before. I followed it as I desperately needed to find out what Grey Wolf was trying to tell me. But it was like that son of a bitch disappeared into thin air.
Now, this story about Grey Wolf and Honestly, Silas Greaves tripping balls for some reason. Completely made up. But it's also important to note that it really doesn't even make sense in the story, and we will get to that later.
Did they exaggerate your part in taking down the Daltons?
Well, I was there in the flesh, boy, so I saw what happened firsthand.
Did you know?
Those Daltons were lawmen once, before they all went bad, robbing banks and trains clear across the territory. Until Coffeeville, of course. I was one of the citizens who took up arms that day.
Fighting on the side of right?
I did my best, sir. We all did. It was early morning. One of my friends was a local gunsmith, and he handed out firearms to anybody who'd take one. You see, the Daltons got it in their heads to rob 2 banks at the same time. 2 banks on the same damn street. Story was Bob Dalton's girl was always writing him about how he had no ambition. Well, you're nobody next to Jesse James, he'd say. Finally, the bastard took his brothers to Coffeeville just to shut her up. The brothers paid dearly for their stupidity, but everybody knows they had it coming.
There's more to it than that. I read all about that day, so I know for a fact that it went down very differently. First of all, it was high noon. A posse of U.S. deputy marshals were on the rooftop across the street. One of the marshals shouted, "Where are you going? Are you crazy?"
Hey, where do you think you're going, dumbass? That right was mine.
But he paid him no mind. He saw a way to get around to the back of the bank. Then he figured out how to hit the Daltons from a direction they weren't expecting.
Probably climb the ladder.
From above. Fortunately, a water tower was right there. A moment later, he was climbing up a steep ladder, laughing at danger as he did. It was brave men like him who risked their lives to tame this wild country.
We've got company.
Heroic men like him, who did what other men couldn't or wouldn't to make this country free.
That's okay. I
Jim
just
Booth,
have to go.
Davy Crockett,
Son of a
died defending
bitch!
the Alamo.
Reload.
Come on, kill him! I'm just getting started. That's Silas Greaves. What the hell?
Bland! He came away victorious, taking down those thieving Daltons. His
Hell
name
yeah.
was Silas Greaves, and when the dust finally settled, he was the last man standing.
Sorry, kid, but that just wasn't the way it happened. It was early evening, not high noon.
Okay.
I was late to the party, and Coffeeville was already up in arms. The Daltons blew up a safe, and were all set to hightail it out of there. Those pathetic deputies surrounding the bank were dropping like flies. Those stupid bastards decided to rob 2 banks at the same time in the same town where everybody knew them. I caught sight of the Daltons running with the money and didn't want to lose them. Problem was, they knew the town better than I did. And to top it off, I found myself in the middle of another shootout entirely.
Did the Daltons hole up in somebody's house?
No, it was the Smiths, I believe. They were cousins of the Daltons, and they were shooting at the Browns, who were shooting at the Daltons, which wasn't any surprise, as those 2 families have been feuding forever. God damn! And since the Joneses are related to the Browns, they shot at the Smiths, pissing off the Heimhoffers, whose daughter recently married a Smith. Well, bullets were flying every which way as all the old feuds in Kansas caught fire all at once. There was a hell of a lot of pissed off people in Coffeyville that day. But that's just the way life is sometimes.
Shit happens.
The Dalton boys knew I would never give up. Those Daltons weren't the sharpest knives in the drawer, but they always stood together. They set a trap to slow me down and allow at least 2 of them to escape. The third brother stayed behind to plant me, just in case that trap of theirs didn't work.
Well, the trap worked.
It was Emmett, the youngest, and he decided to stand his ground and face me down.
I ain't afraid of you, Silent Reeves. This is where it ends for you.
He was determined to protect his brothers. I understood how he felt. Taking me on all by his lonesome wasn't exactly a recipe for a long life.
Well, that didn't do shit.
Gonna beat you like a red-headed stepchild.
Not sure. Okay. Shit. Oh, he's got a shotgun. Woo! Got him.
Dalton survived the robbery in Coffeyville. He's the only Dalton who did.
They say he was shot 23 times.
Well, Dwight, who do you think put all those damn holes in him?
You get those suckers!
It took me a couple of days to track the Daltons down.
They can't get away with this!
And in that time, a whole posse of local vigilantes offered to lend a hand. The vigilantes had spread out wide, and pretty soon I couldn't see anybody.
Bury them in the swamp! Plant them where they stand!
Except for some bitches ahead of me wanted to do me harm. So I had to face them alone. Well, luckily, a barn materialized as if right before my eyes. I scrambled up top to get a better view, but just ended up falling inside.
So, how did you get out?
The barn doors was open, and that's when I saw it. A goddamn steamboat.
A steamboat in a swamp?
Yeah, Steve, but this wasn't much more than a wreck, really.
But how'd a damn steamboat end up in the swamps? Yes, it floated off during the flood of '89.
Now, was it a stern wheeler or a side wheeler?
What? Does that really make a difference, Steve? It was a steamboat with a goddamn army on board. It was then that a fusillade of bullets come raining down from on high, and those vigilantes who accompanied me weren't anywhere to be found. But among those men that were shooting at me, I thought I saw some familiar faces.
Sounds like you don't give up too easy.
That's the kind of man I am, Ben. I set out to do something. I do it. Surrender just ain't in my nature. Plus, I'm stubborn as hell. Right about then, much to my relief, the vigilantes finally arrived. Their leader motioned at a cabin in the middle of the top deck, pointing me directly at the Daltons. I finally had them, after months of dogged pursuit. But it turned out that they had me. The Daltons had played me like a fiddle. Apparently, the vigilantes were on their damn payroll. They didn't just want to shoot me. They wanted to burn me alive. But finding my way out of a burning labyrinth proved to be quite a challenge.
It was a riverboat, right? I mean, it's not like it was a goddamn ocean liner.
Yeah, but I was in a fight.
Did you hear about that ship that's gonna launch next year? Largest one in the world.
You're talking about the Titanic. If you ask me, it's too blessed big. I don't think it'll even float.
So anyway...
Don't be stupid, Steve. They know what they're doing. They say that the Titanic is unsinkable.
Oh, God.
But getting back to that steamboat, how'd you get off it, Mr. Greaves?
I took in a lot of smoke that day, so I admit my recollection might be a bit hazy. but somehow I managed to finally disembark. It was time to settle this once and for all.
I got a Gatling gun. Yes. I didn't think I'd ever get to do this. Let's go. Come on. Come and get it. Come on. Gunning them all down.
Bob and Grat weren't about to come at me one at a time. They were in this together. Two brothers side by side, determined to take me down. Confident that this time the odds were on their side.
I'm not doing good here. Oh, okay. Got
Got it
him!
wrong. A sad end for those two. If they'd only known that Emmett was still alive despite his wounds. Paroled 14 years later, he moved to California and sold real estate and lived off the legend of that fateful day. And the tragic death of his two brothers.
Both Bob and Grat were killed during the robbery attempt, not in some swamp a few days later, meaning that Bob and Dwight's accounts are a little more historically accurate with them being killed at the robbery. Emmett does survive, and he is injured at the robbery, which makes that half accurate, but the second half where he goes into a swamp and duels the brother is a complete fairy tale.
My own brothers died tragically as well, truth be told. It was 1868, and me and my older brothers were pulling a tidy profit running cattle into Juarez, Mexico. One night after my brothers retired for the evening, I found a little poker game in a cantina with a couple of cowboys. And I just couldn't lose. I even won an old Spanish coin that had to be 100 years old. Well, I was mighty pleased with myself the next morning as my brothers and I rode for Texas. But before we crossed the border, those cowboys caught up with us. It was Johnny Ringo, Roscoe Bob Bryant, and another asshole named Jim. They wanted their money back and everything else we had, including our lives, as those boys didn't want us coming for them later. Bob put that old Spanish coin in my mouth and said, "I won't have it said that I left you with nothing, boy." Well, those horses bolted, and there we hung as those bastards rode away. The branch finally snapped under the weight of the three of us, but being my older brothers were bigger and heavier, they were already dead. And right then I swore to myself that I would avenge them. Ringo you know about. But Bob eluded me, until I heard he was riding with the Wild Bunch. They blew the bridge with the intention of forcing the train to stop.
Well, that didn't seem like the train stopped.
Well, I assumed the Wild Bunch was likely in the still intact part of the train high above, so I had no choice but to make my way up through the passenger cars dangling down. I was determined to make that sumbitch Bob pay for what he did to my brothers. From there, I had to negotiate an even more precarious route. But first, I would need to get my ass out of there.
I'm jumping. Alright. We got this.
I jumped from the frying pan went into the fire as the train was clearly fixing to fall. I had found the gang, but in order to find old Bob, I needed to fight my way forward past a whole passel of desperados. My guess is those dime novels didn't portray this as it happened, did they? Only a few stragglers were left. I had to cut them down pronto if I was going to stay on old Bob's trail.
There they are. Come on. Anybody I can see? There you are. Shooting them down. Come on. There we go.
Once I silenced all those guns, I went searching for my nemesis, determined to finally have my justice. But the only survivor who welcomed me was George Flat-Nosed Curry.
Who was he?
The fastest gun in the gang. Right after Sundance, I mean. And Kid Curry, and maybe Elsie Lay. Though some folks might dispute that.
Not having very good speed here. But I was way quicker.
The same day, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid decided to leave the Wild Bunch behind and decamped for South America.
George Curry actually died almost a year later in Utah while cattle rustling, and he was killed by a sheriff. So this is just a straight up lie that easily fact checked.
I tried to find Bob Bryant, but it was as if he'd disappeared. Sometime later, I heard the Wild Bunch was back together. Kid Curry escaped from jail, and now he was running the whole shebang. So I took to their trail, as I was still in pursuit of my brother's killer and hoped that he was back with him. Anyways, I tracked those boys to a camp right outside Parachute, Colorado. Bob wasn't among them, and neither was Kid Curry. I could sense him close by, however, plotting something nasty. I just needed a clue as to their whereabouts. And I found one.
Drew a map on the rock.
Their bold plan clearly marked.
On a rock.
This time they were fixing to blow up a train trestle. Property of the Union Pacific. Curry was considered the wildest of the Wild Bunch. It was said that he fathered 85 bastard children.
85?
85. It was rigged with dynamite, so I decided I'd best be careful confronting those bastards. Luckily, I found a cave, and as I made my way back to the bridge, I saw something that concerned me. There was a long burning fuse, and it was moving fast as hell. I had to catch it. The burning fuse was so damn quick, I had to run like the wind. I almost had it, but no. Thought I was gonna have a coronary when I lost sight of those sparks. My heart was pounding like a sledgehammer. I knew that failure meant boom. Then, finally, at the last moment. Whew. Of course, I was successful, or clearly I wouldn't be talking to you folks here today.
Kill that as
Oh, they tried.
Finally, I found those boys.
Shall see that.
Or more precisely, they found me.
He's crazy. Kid Curry asked me.
Let's whip out the rifle, huh? Damn, you got me. Good thing I can't get got.
that brought that tunnel down.
Sorry, buddy. I'm on my top of my game.
As fast as he was.
I was just a bit faster.
Just a bit faster. And as he lay wounded, I demanded to know the whereabouts of Roscoe Bob Bryant. He shouted at me. Is that what this is about? Bob went with Butch and Sundance to South America. You ain't never finding him.
Yeah.
Those were his last words.
Kid Curry did not die at the scene of the robbery. He died a day later while trying to get horses to escape.
So, Bob Bryant got away?
I knew I'd never find him in South America.
What about the other killer?
Yeah, you kind of glossed over that one.
Well, I found Jim not long after my showdown with Ringo. At the time, he was riding with the James Younger gang. Did I neglect to mention that?
Jesse James? The greatest outlaw who ever lived?
Jesse and his kin rode with Quantrill when he raided Lawrence, Kansas, and killed near 200 people, boy.
Nothing great about that.
And from there, him and his brother went on to rob banks and trains from Kansas to Missouri.
Which is why there was such a rich bounty on their heads. 40 grand for both of them, dead or alive. That's one hell of a payday. They hopped a freight train, having heard there was a big payroll in the express safe. So, I hopped the same train.
Oh, I was supposed to...
The James Younger gang was decimated after that little fiasco they had in Northfield, Minnesota. So Jesse needed more men and took on the killer I was after, along with a host of others.
And you took them all on by your lonesome. Again. I'm finding this all a little hard to swallow, friend.
Well, maybe you need to wash it down with some whiskey.
Oh.
Excuse me, Ben. But where would I find the gentleman's facilities? Suddenly I have an urgent need to drain my one-eyed snake. Well, I've had more than a few drinks, and I've been sitting here for quite a spell.
Right through there. Let me show you.
Are they gonna make me... Alright, I'm playing in slow
Never
motion.
heard so much malarkey in my life.
You think he's bullshitting us?
You don't think he's Silas Greaves?
I think he's just some old drunk looking for some free liquor.
I'm gonna have to kill one of these people. Ben or Jack. One of those two is dying.
No, Jack. I think I believe him. You don't think he met Jesse James?
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That story makes no sense at all.
Jack.
I mean, you gotta be 2 bricks short of a load to believe that cock and bull story.
I don't agree.
Jack, lay off the
But you
boat.
seriously think that tired old man went toe-to-toe with Jesse James?
Well, that's better. Did I mention that this Jim was married to the infamous Belle Starr? Of course, I didn't learn that until later. At some point, some bitch saw me and shouted out, "It's the damn Pinkertons!" It's the damn Pinkertons! Right about then, I was attacked by some asshole on a Gatling gun.
Yeah, seems like you run into a lot of them.
Asshole?
Gatling guns.
Yes, I did. Now, I don't remember how I took it out. It was either a bullet or dynamite.
Where would you find dynamite?
Does it really matter, Jack? You're messing with the flow of the story here. I was looking for Jim and shooting any son of a bitch stupid enough to get in my way. And that included Jesse James himself. I could see Jesse waiting for me, fixing to kill me so he could get away with all that money.
You had a showdown with Jesse James?
Of course he didn't. Everybody knows that Jesse was killed by Bob Ford.
Yeah. Jesse went out like John Wesley Hardin. Coward shot him in the back of the head.
Guess it doesn't matter how far you run, does it, Ben? Your past always catches.
Ben's the bad guy. I know Ben is Bob. Got him.
Yeah, I didn't kill Jesse James. Just wounded him bad enough to convince him to hang up his guns.
What about that Jim fella? What happened to him?
I figure he was up front with a gun to the engineer's head. That bastard slipped away again. I'll tell you how I got him. But first I need to wet my whistle.
Silas claims that he shot Jesse James and that made him hang up his guns and retire, which is not true. Jesse James actually robs another train after this story takes place.
Now, what's the
After
next?
my showdown with Jesse, I continued to track his brother, Frank, and that son of a bitch, Jim. I followed those bastards into the high mountains as they were going to ground.
What mountains would that be?
Somewhere in the Ozarks, I believe. The perfect place to hide out from the authorities. Now, where was I? Indians, right. I had more than my share of run-ins with the Red Man. Like that time, did I tell you about Grey Wolf?
Yes, sir.
Well, of course I did. In fact, I could still remember that old medicine man's words to me.
Jesus Christ, we're back to that again.
You carry great darkness in your heart. It will claim your soul. You will come to this place again and kill many more men. And the darkness will grow until it consumes everything you are.
God damn. I forgot I'm not using my custom engraved.
So did you ever find him? The man you are after.
Let me ask you something, Ben. You ever think about death? Ooh, death. Ooh, death. Won't you spare me over till another year? What is this that I can't see with ice cold hands taking hold of me? Well, I am death, none can excel. I'll open the door to heaven or hell. Oh, death. Oh, death, won't you spare me over till another year?
So are you gonna answer the question?
What question is that?
Jim Reed. Did you ever find him?
Reed was indeed that son of a bitch's surname. That's right, Ben. A despicable character. I remember him laughing like a hyena that cold morning they lynched me and my
it's so
brothers.
definitely Bob.
He was intent on avoiding my vengeance, but nothing was gonna stop me. Nothing. I finally did track those outlaws down. They had long rifles with scopes and were well positioned to pick off any poor soul who came anywhere close.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
I'm guessing Frank James believed I was responsible for the demise of his brother Jesse. I couldn't really disagree with the man, as I thought Jesse was dead then as well. He backed off as I closed in on him, but he was still intent on killing me. And when I closed in on him again, he backed off again, looking for a better angle on me. Hell, I can't fault Frank for wanting his revenge, as I was there for the same damn reason myself. At this point, I'm guessing you think Silas Greaves is a worse murderer than Jim Reed ever was.
No, sir.
A man who spent half his life killing somebody's brothers, fathers, sons.
I think you were just looking for justice, sir.
Is that what I was looking for, Dwight? Is that what it was? Justice?
Isn't that why you were hunting the James gang?
The James gang. Right. I finally found Frank holed up in his mountain cabin, and he was determined to have me dead.
Take him out! He's just one man! Put him down! I want that bastard dead!
Shack? Well, it went tumbling right off that cliff.
With Frank James still in it?
Yes, sir.
But Frank James is still alive, living in Missouri, showing folks around the family farm for 25 cents a tour.
I didn't say he died in the fall, now did I?
I'm done with this damnable outlaw life! Kill me, don't kill me, do what you will! At this point, I just don't give a shit!
I explained to Frank that I had nothing against him personally and that I was looking for someone else.
You want Reed? Have at him! I never did like that bastard! I am done here!
We parted in peace as Frank pointed out the path to my prey before making his way back down the hill. Rather than wander in willy-nilly, I decided it would be better to smoke that sumbitch out. Hey, Reed! I shouted. No wonder you're so ornery. Can't be easy being married to Belle Starr. While you're off providing for the family, she's spreading her legs for every Tom, Dick, and Cole Younger. Not an attractive woman exactly, but very friendly. At least she was to me.
Son of a bitch!
I had waited a long time to face him down, so I could repay him for what he did to my brothers.
Why am I not recharging? Speed. Come on, speed!
And repay him I did.
Jim Reed actually was a real person, and he died in Paris, Texas, not in some mountain in the middle of nowhere. So right here is the timeline of events as portrayed by Silas Greaves. So first, Billy the Kid escapes from jail, and Silas escapes along with him. And then Silas hunts down Curly Bill, kills him, hunts down Johnny Ringo, kills him. And then it gets a little muddled. He claims he went after Jim Reed shortly after Johnny Ringo's death. And Jesse James's train robbery happens a little bit before that. It's important to note, he claims that Grey Wolf predicted that he would go back to the mountain where he kills Jim Reed and kill a lot of people. Meaning Grey Wolf happens before Jim Reed dies. Doesn't really make sense considering Henry Plummer dies after Jim Reed, because we know that he only went after Henry Plummer to get resources to go after Bob, which he only went after Bob after killing Jim. That means that he went after Grey Wolf before he became a bounty hunter, before he killed Jim Reed. Doesn't really make sense within the story. What really doesn't make sense is the actual historical timeline of events. Henry Plummer dies in 1864. That's long before Silas Greaves even starts bounty hunting. Jim Reed dies in 1874. That's before Billy the Kid escapes, and that's before Johnny Ringo dies. Billy the Kid escapes from jail. That's true. Jesse James does have a train robbery in 1881, but that's before Johnny Ringo dies. The order in which Silas portrays events is completely wrong.
Well, I don't know about you boys, but I'm pretty beat.
Well, it's too damn bad you never found that Bob character. Seems a shame he never had to pay.
Well, funny thing about that, I did have one more chance at him. Six months ago, I heard that Butch and Sundance were back in the States and had gathered up some of their old gang. I tracked them down, hoping that Roscoe Bob Bryant had returned with them.
So you're saying they didn't die down in Bolivia?
That's what I'm saying. 40 years I had waited to get my hands on the last of my brother's killers. Not even an army of demons could have stopped me now. Both Johnny Ringo and Jim Reed fell fairly quickly. But the last of them, Roscoe Bob Bryant. That son of a bitch had managed to escape my vengeance time and time again. I couldn't even be certain I'd recognize him after all those years. By now, he had to be close to 70.
And for all you know, he could have been dead.
The town was falling apart, just like me. The Wild Bunch knew I was there. They were after a treasure they had hidden before they fled, buried in the grave of a dead amigo. Some folks think the town is haunted, so they figured there wouldn't be many people poking around.
But I am.
I intended to fill that grave with Bob Bryant's corpse. But like I said, the bandits knew I was on to them. They lured me in and hit me with everything they had.
But you obviously prevailed since you're sitting here.
Actually, in that moment, I did not prevail.
So I suppose we're talking to a ghost.
Funny you should put it like that, Jack. Because when I woke up...
From the dead?
There was silence all around me. I could swear to God I saw Billy then.
Billy who?
Billy the Kid. William Bonney. He was shooting at me from a rooftop. Here, there, even over there.
So I am right. You are titched in the head.
Mr. Greaves, perhaps we should switch you to coffee?
You see that old Indian again, too?
No, but I did see Billy's killer, Patrick Floyd Garrett. He came at me guns a-blazing. But I knew that old war horse had died 2 years before. I wondered if maybe I was dead too and confronting the ghosts of my past. Perhaps all my sins were coming back to haunt me and drag me down to perdition.
Wow, fighting ghosts. Come on.
I saw Henry Plummer throw dynamite at me.
Not gonna get me yet.
But in the gates of the cemetery, I saw John Wesley Hardin, just like I remembered him.
Damn. God damn it.
Robert Ollinger appeared with his terrible double-barrel shotgun. But no ghost army was stopping me.
My father-in-law got hit with a falling branch. He spent the rest of his life talking to dogs.
Newman Hayes Clanton, William Brocious, John Peters Ringo, they all wanted me dead.
I'm killing them all. Everybody I put down. Only need one bullet.
Robert and Grattan, guardians of the Garden of the Dead. George Curry and Harvey Logan, alias Kid Curry, both thirsty for vengeance from the great beyond.
Reload, reload, reload. Just gotta hit my shots.
Jesse, Woodson, James, and Jim Reed. Each one deader than the next. I thought I would go crazy.
Dude, I'm surrounded. How many bullets I gotta...
I saw Harry Alonzo Longabaugh.
The Sundance Kid?
Like a general leading his Legion of the Dead.
You told us before you see him alive.
He was alive.
Dude, ah! Why don't I have any concentration, like ever?
Then I heard a voice call from
I killed him.
Leroy Parker, K.A. Butch Cassidy, coming fog.
Thanks for taking care of that bastard.
But the kid wasn't quite deceased. Not yet.
Takes more than one little bullet to kill the likes of me, partner.
Those two looked like they hadn't seen each other for quite a while. Clearly, they were no longer amigos.
Shit. I was hoping I wouldn't have to kill you. You won't have to, Butch. I'm killing you first.
I asked them about Bob Bryant, but they were too busy with their own heated conversation.
Let me get this shit straight. You want my money and the love of my life? You frittered it all away, Butch. Edda's mine. So is that damn money.
I didn't want to shoot anybody until I had an answer to my question, but those boys didn't give me much of a choice.
I was so slow, like... I
Butch
got
Cassidy
him!
and the Sundance Kid died there in that cemetery not 6 months ago.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid died in South America around like 1908. They did not come back to the States in 1910 and die there. They were already dead in South America.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid were killed by the Bolivian army. Everybody knows that.
That's the legend, but it ain't the truth.
So, you never found Bob? There is no Bob. This old sumbitch ain't even Silas Greaves.
Sir, is that true? Have you been pulling our legs this whole time?
Well, not the whole time.
Oh, man, I think you've worn out your welcome here.
Maybe you're right, Jack. Maybe it's time to pay. You see, Ben, or should I say Bob, your past always catches up with you.
I was a different man back then, crazy. Drinking, I've changed my ways, I swear to you. If I could turn back the clock,
But you can't, Bob.
You can't. Are you kidding me? F you, Bob.
Why'd you toy with me like that? Telling those tales, knowing all along. Why not just lay your cards on the table?
Here. I won't have it said that I left you with nothing.
That's how you want it? So be it.
Come on, you little bastard. Reach for it. Reach for it.
Oh my god! Oh, Jesus!
Did you know it was him all along?
Cassidy told me Bob was in Abilene before he died. But I wasn't sure Ben was my man until he revealed how much he knew about Ringo and Reed. The coin, of course. Well, that was the last nail in that particular coffin.
I better go get the sheriff.
You okay, boy? You're looking mighty shook up.
Dwight, maybe you best go home. Young Eisenhower here is leaving for West Point tomorrow. He shouldn't get caught up in something like it.
Unless you want to stop me, Jack.
No, sir, Mr. Greaves.
So where are you going now? Now that you had your revenge?
Doesn't really matter, does it? As I've sold my soul for it, and will never again walk with those I have lost.
Baby.
Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I highly recommend you guys check this one out. I know it's pretty cheap on Steam right now. It'll probably go on sale too if you just want to wait for a little bit, throw that thing on your wish list. But it's a lot of fun. Gameplay's a lot of fun. It's quick. It's a very high-paced shooter, which I really enjoyed. I thought the story was fun, a little silly. The way it's told is awesome, and if you're interested, I would check it out just for the way that the story is told and the way the gameplay is a part of the story. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you later.